Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. Thank you for being with us for our first live session of the Costa Rica and Panama STEAM Open House. My name is Mo Burke, and I am joined here today with Duvan Ramirez and Genesis Espanosa. And today we are going to be talking about gaining work experience in the US, the optional practical training program. So let's get started, as I'm sure you will have a lot of questions. You feel free to put a message in the chat and send questions. You can put the questions in the chat or in the Q&A tab, and we will ask them at the very end. So as I mentioned, my name is Mo Burke. I work for Education USA Costa Rica, and we have Duvan Ramirez, who is from the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. We also have Genesis Espanosa, who is from the University of Arkansas. Duvan is from Costa Rica and Genesis is from Panama, but we will learn more about them soon. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about the different types of ways that you can work while you study in the United States. So the most common question we get when we are helping students apply is if they can work while they are studying in the United States on an F1 visa. The question is yes. There are three options. You can work on campus with your part-time job. You could complete the CPT program, which is normally during your studies. And you can complete the OPT program, which is normally after your studies. And we're going to talk about each of these three options. So while you are studying and enrolled in classes, you can work up to 20 hours per week on an F1 visa on on-campus job. So for example, working in a library, working in the international student's office, working in a cafeteria, and this will be a maximum of 20 hours. This is a regulation and a rule. So you will not be allowed to work at a restaurant or a clothes store off campus. You have to have a job on campus. However, during vacation or off periods, you can increase your hours to 40 hours a week if your employer needs the extra help, right? That's important to keep in mind. So you can work to up to 20 hours a week on campus while you study. This extra money helps you buy personal items like toothpaste, clothes, allows you to go to the movie theaters with your friends, but you won't be earning enough money to pay for all of your tuition and housing. It's important to keep that in mind. This is an extra or a complement to your financial aid. Now, let's talk about the CPT and the OPT programs, because these are a very good, these are great advantages of the student visa. The CPT program stands for Curricular Practical Training, and students who are on a F1 visa in the United States can complete a CPT, which is a training program where they're working, if it is a requirement or integral part of the curriculum for their specific academic area, okay? So this could be training, this could be an internship, this could be a co-op. You have to keep in mind this is temporary authorization to work off campus. You do not have to work in the cafeteria or the library, but you could work off campus for a company. But it must be directly related to your area of study. So if you are studying electrical engineering and you find an option to do an internship as a business person, that's not directly related to electrical engineering. So that would not be approved. Students are eligible to apply for the CPT after they have completed one academic year of studies. So if your university uses semesters, this is after 2 semesters. If your university uses quarters, this is after 3 quarters. So after your first full year, you could apply for the CPT program. Is the CPT paid or unpaid? So will you receive money or not? They can be both paid or unpaid. The U.S. Immigration Services considers payment to be something where you get money, monetary benefits, but it can also be non-monetary benefits, which like a housing, or they let you use a car. They're not giving you money, but they are giving you something, and it's non-monetary benefit. If it is an unpaid internship, we still recommend that you officially apply to do your CPT because you are gaining knowledge and skills. And it's always better to be safe than sorry, and make sure that you are doing everything in the legal required manner. Okay? So CPT, as I mentioned, you can only do a CPT if it's a requirement or integral part of your program. And what does that mean? A requirement is something that must be completed in order to graduate by everyone in the program. So for example, many students who are education majors are required to do student teaching practicums before they can graduate. Every single student, okay? That's a requirement. An integral part means that it's not required for all students, but it is seen as something necessary for the program, and it's credit bearing. What does credit bearing mean? That means that you will receive academic credit for it, which also means that you need to pay for these credits. So keep that in mind that with the CPT, it could be paid, but you will have to pay for those credits to your university as well. So there's an additional cost. CPT, can I do both the CPT and the OPT? If you do 12 months of full-time CPT during your studies, then you could not do the OPT, right? Full-time is considered 40 hours. However, if you do your CPT part-time, which is 20 hours for a year, or if you do your CPT for less than a year, then your OPT eligibility is not affected, and you can still participate in the OPT program after completing your studies. So, to review, the CPT is the curriculum practical training, and it allows you to get training during your studies after one academic year if it is a requirement for your program or an integral part of your program. It can be paid or unpaid. Now we're going to talk about the OPT, which is a little bit more popular. More people have heard of the OPT. The OPT means optional practical training, okay? The OPT is a wonderful benefit of the F1 student visa because it allows students to obtain practical training, or in other words, work experience, in their fields in the United States. So you can work legally for a maximum of 12 months after you complete your studies. And you can complete this one time at every single level. So for example, if you study 2 years in a community college, you get your associate's degree, you could do 1 year of OPT work or training, and then you could continue studying. After you receive your bachelor's degree, you can apply to do the OPT again. After you do that, you could get a master's degree. After you get your master's degree, you could apply to do the OPT again. So this is a legal way to work in the United States after you graduate for 1 year and get international work experience. It is important to note that this also, the job has to be related to your field of study. And it requires authorization and approval from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services and recommendation from your university. So you do have to apply for it and go through paperwork process in order to do the OPT. OPT, when can I apply and when can I do it? So as I said, the OPT is normally done after you finish your academic program. However, you do need to apply as early as 90 days or 3 months before you finish your program. So 3 months before you graduate, you should be asking your university for an I-20 recommendation form. And this process does take time. So do not expect to graduate December 15th and to start working December 16th, because there will be some time between your graduation and when you begin to work. Then after you get your recommendation from your university, you have to apply and send your application to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services within 30 days of you receiving the paper. You then have no more than 60 days to start your program after you graduate. So if you graduate on December 15th, you have 60 days to begin your program, which would be around February 15th, depending on the exact number of days. And once you are granted your employment authorization document, you can have up to 90 days of unemployment. So what does this mean? You can graduate, you're waiting for your documents. When you get your documents in hand, then you can look for an employer. You have 90 days to find an employer, and you need to start working in those 90 days. Your OPT program must be completed within 14 months after you finish your academic program. So if you graduate in December, you have to start by February, because that would allow for the 14 months the 14-month rule. You cannot graduate in December and wait until July to start your OPT program because you would not be completing the program within 14 months. There's also an extension. So I mentioned that you can do the OPT for up to 12 months. You can work in the United States for 12 months after you graduate with the OPT program in your area. If you are studying a STEM field, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, you could potentially extend your OPT for an additional 24 months. So you could do a total of 3 years of work in the United States. This extension is eligible for specific degrees, and you can find the list of degrees on this website that I have here, which is on the Department of Homeland Security's website, and they will tell you exactly what science, technology, engineering, and math degrees are eligible for this. But some examples, we have computer science, we have engineering, we have mechatronics, nanotechnology, and so it's awesome because if you graduate, you're doing a year of your internship and you like it, you could extend to do another 2 years. You also could do it at a different company. You are not required to do your 2 extra years at the same company that you did your first year of OPT, right? You do have to apply for this extension 90 days before your employment authorization document is going to expire, right? So if you are doing your 1 year of OPT, within the last 3 months of your first year of OPT, you have to apply for this 2-year extension. Okay, so this is a wonderful advantage. If you're studying STEM in the United States, you could potentially work for up to 3 years in the United States in legally related to your area of study. So now it's a great pleasure of mine to invite Duvan and Genesis. We're going to be talking to them today, and we're also going to receive some questions from you in the audience. And Duvan and Genesis both have completed or are completing an OPT. So we want to hear from them. So the first question that we have, first of all, I'm going to ask Duvan to start. Duvan, where are you from? Where did you study or are you studying? And what was your major?
Hello, everyone. Like Mo mentioned, my name is Duvan Ramirez. I'm from Cartago, Costa Rica. I first came to the States to study at Fox Valley Technical College. I got my electromechanical technology associates there. Then I applied for my OPT, and now I'm studying at UW Green Bay, getting my electrical engineering degree. That's my major.
Great. So Duvan studied 2 years in a community college, did his OPT year, and then transferred to University of Wisconsin Green Bay to continue 2 more years to obtain his bachelor's degree. Duvan, when you were studying at your community college, did you have some type of scholarship?
Yes, actually, I got a scholarship from Cruza Foundation that came together with Education USA. It was a program for Costa Rican students, and 7 of us were granted a full scholarship to come to the States.
Yes, and I would just like to mention that the Cruza Foundation has a table in the lounge. So if you would like to visit the Cruza Foundation today to learn more about this scholarship for Costa Rican students, you can do that. Thank you, Duvan. Now, Genesis, I have the same questions for you, and I believe you also received a scholarship to study in the United States. So if you could mention a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you, Moa, for having me here. Yes, I was awarded with a full scholarship, like for 5 years, to study my bachelor's degree as a chemical engineering. I was sponsored for IFAR Tennessee in Panama. They also have a table, and I came here. I'm originally from Chiriquí, Boquerón in Panama, and I did my bachelor's degree first, and then now I'm completing my first years of OPT.
Wonderful. So Genesis also is studying in the United States she completed her degree at the University of Arkansas with a scholarship from the Cenecit, IFARU Cenecit scholarship program, and Cenecit has a table in the lounge as well. So if you are from Panama, please visit the Cenecit table to learn more about these opportunities. So let's continue. As I mentioned at the beginning, while you are studying, while you are obtaining your degree, you can work for up to 20 hours on campus as a part-time student. Genesis, did you work part-time when you were obtaining your bachelor's degree? If so, where did you work and how many hours a week did you normally work?
So yes, I work part-time at the University of Arkansas. I work in a virology lab. I was there as a technical lab assistant student. And what I was doing there, I was learning about how to do PCR and RT extraction from plants, and I was able also um, to help in the lab to maintain all the chemicals, to do all the chemicals, to prepare all the tools needed for the research students. And I work up to like 20 hours sometimes, but they were very flexible with me because I was studying. So I would work sometimes like 15 or even 10 hours when I had finals week or something like that, and they were very flexible with me. And they were paying me to work with them too. So it was a great experience for me to be part of the lab environment, and also to get some money. That was a very good experience.
Yes, of course. So a little extra money is always great, especially as a student. So in Genesis's case, she worked on campus in a lab. So she actually got research experience as well, which was related to her major. So it was an extra advantage. And she said that they were very flexible with her schedule during finals week. Duvan, I understand you also worked while you were at your community college, and you continue to work now at University of Wisconsin Green Bay. Can you tell us a little bit about your jobs and responsibilities?
That is correct. I have had plenty of jobs. Actually, I haven't had just like one or two. When I first came to the States in Fox Valley Technical College, I was a bookseller. So I would like sell books to people, get the rentals, give them the rentals. I was also a college ambassador, so I had to memorize the campus from one corner to the other. What would happen is a family would say like, hey, we want to come study to this university. So can you like walk us around, explain what each program is? It was very easy. Now that that was in Fox Valley Technical College. Now that I transferred to University of Wisconsin Green Bay, I was a bookseller again because that was easy since I already knew it. I quit that job, and actually I am an IT help desk technician right now. So what I do is I help people with their computer issues. Maybe Teams is not working, a software is not working, their computer is too slow, too loud. So I have to go in and see what's going on and try to fix it.
Awesome. So it sounds like both of you got wonderful experiences and skills that are related to your areas of study while you were studying, and you make a little bit of extra money to help you with your studies and extra costs. I'm going to just mention something really fast in Spanish for those of who are joining us in Spanish, because I see some things in the chat. Si es correcto, no se puede acceder al lounge desde un celular. Para ir al lounge y hablar con los representantes en las mesas, necesitan hacerlo desde una computadora. Sí pueden acceder a estas sesiones informativas desde el celular, pero no pueden ir al lounge. Si quieren los captions, ahí abajo van a ver una cajita con CC. Necesitan hacer clic ahí para ver los subtítulos de esta presentación. So, now to continue. Next question. Let's begin with, let's continue with Duvan. Genesis, I know that you did not complete a CPT, but I think Duvan did complete a CPT after his first year of college. So can you tell us a little bit, Duvan, about where you did your CPT, what semester you did it in, and what your responsibility?
Yes, so we'll go back to that later, but I did it at the same place where I did my OPT. The name of the company was CMD Corporation. I started that on my third semester, so it was a semester prior I graduated. I was working part-time there, so my OPT wouldn't be affected. I was an electrical engineer, and I was working 20 hours per week or so.
Awesome. So Duvan did do the CPT in a company, and while he was studying, and it was a paid CPT, which is also wonderful for Duvan to make some extra money. Great. So now let's go back to Genesis. Genesis is doing her OPT right now. She graduated from the University of Arkansas, and she is doing her OPT. So where are you doing your OPT, and what is or was or sorry, what is your official title and what is your day-to-day work day?
Yes, well, I'm working for the company called Food Safety Net Survey. It's a accredited laboratory here in the United States to test food. And my official title is a microbiologist lab technician. What I do in this lab is we detect pathogens in food, and we detect toxins and test every single food, not single food, but whatever we receive from the client, so that the people will be able to eat it in the Walmart, in the supermarket. We test this food and see we have any kind of bacteria or pathogen in this food. We test Campylobacter, E. coli, Listeria, Salmonella, and different kind of tests. And for me, this is a great experience because I'm very interested to pursue uh, the good quality in my country. So working for Food Safety Net Survey has been a great experience, and I have learned so much from this company and all these new tests for me. And yeah.
Awesome. It sounds like an awesome experience, and I'm very glad that people like you are working towards ensuring our food safety. Duvan, I understand you also did an OPT after you got your associate's degree. And so you already completed that last year from January 2020 to December 2020, and now you're studying again. So can you tell us where you did your OPT and what your responsibilities were?
Like I mentioned, I did my OPT at the same place I did my CPT. It was CMD Corporation. I was working there for 12 months. I was promoted to an electromechanical assembler after I graduated. So I was building machines from scratch up. So I will have to do all the routing. I will have to install sensors. Once the machines were completed, I will have to turn them on, measure that everything was correct, voltages, amperage, wattage. And then if the machine for any reason would not work, I will have to go ahead and try to troubleshoot it and pretty much figure out what was wrong, why the machine is not working, and get it to work.
Awesome. And I'm very glad to hear that you were promoted as well. It sounds like you guys really took advantage or are taking advantage of your OPT experiences. Remember that OPT is optional practical training. Is something you can apply to do after you complete a degree. Study could be PDF went away, so let me share that again. One second, everyone. I believe I'm having internet problems, so let me see if I can get the slides back. So the question is, how early did you begin to look for your businesses where you are doing your OPT? And did you receive any help when you were looking? Let's begin with Hennessy. Hennessy, I believe you are muted. So if you
I'm sorry. I started 1 month before I graduated because I wasn't sure if I would stay, but then I decided to stay. Um, and I did receive help from the ISS Office for International Students here in the University of Arkansas. They walked me through all the paperwork, everything that I needed. Even my advisor, he recommended me to some companies. And the period that I had to wait or to receive this paper was like up to 90 days. And I also, I received a lot of help from my uh, sponsors and my advisors and like different officers from the ISS office. Um, after I turned in my papers, I had to wait. I think Mom mentioned it. I had to wait for like 90 days, but then I got my card and everything was good. So yes.
Great. And what about you, Duvan? How early did you begin to look, and what kind of support did you receive?
Since I did my CPT at the same company where I did my OPT, I didn't really have to look for a company for that since they allowed me to stay with them. So I worked for that company pretty much for a year and 8 months. The Office of Global Education did help me with the paperwork. They walked me through everything, but I do the company myself. I decided I wanted to start working on March, so I got my resume together. I started sending it to companies, and by April, I got 2 responses, and I chose the company that I wanted.
Awesome. So in Duvan's case, he was fortunate enough to continue with the same company he did his OPT with. Sounds great. And last, but oh no, sorry, we have two more. Let's jump to the next question because I want to get some questions from the audience. What advice would you give to students who are considering doing an OPT or CPT when they study in the United States? Let's start with Genesis.
I would recommend to not be afraid. You have been prepared for all these years to be a professional, and I know that your professors or someone in your campus will be able to help you out. Don't be scared to go to an interview with different companies because you have been prepared for all this year. There is something that I always said to myself, and is to not be afraid of your dreams. You know, if they're too big, that's okay because it means like there is something that you can achieve. There is something that uh, you will be able to dream about. And I would say there's maybe a lot of Panamanians right now there, and I would say it is a great experience. You will learn so much from this, and you will be able to grow professionally, emotionally, psychologically, and academically as well. So there's like a lot of opportunity that I have found myself that I found in the OPT programs, and it is a great and life-changing experience. So don't be scared to apply. Don't be scared to say, because I was scared at the beginning. What if like no one wants me, or if the time runs out and I won't be able to find a job? But I think if you persevere and you're like a very consistent with all your hard work, you will be able to find it, and you will find that it's a very rewarding experience.
Wonderful. And Duvan, what advice would you have for someone considering doing an CPT and or?
Really quick, what I want to say is to not wait because time will not wait for you. Try to get a company as soon as you can. You will gain work experience, you will get money. There's no reason not to apply for it. Go ahead and do it. Like Hennessy said, don't be scared. You got nothing to lose.
Wonderful. And so now really quickly, we're going to take a few questions from the audience. I just want to remind everyone that Duvan studied at a community college with the CRUSA Foundation, CRUSA. It is in the lounge. If you want to get to the lounge, you have to click the arrow in the top left of your screen to go back to the lounge and visit the tables. Hennessy studied with the Cenacit Scholarship, and Cenacit also has a table. So CRUSA would be for Costa Rican students, Cenacit would be for Panamanian students, right? We have a question, and I think Hennessy could answer this for us. Is it possible to work in research as part of a CPT or OPT program? Hennessy, I believe what you do is considered research, right?
For this, I didn't do CPT, but I have some friends that they did CPT, and I know that you are able to, while you're studying, maybe you can even work with some of your professor, and you will be able to do research with your professor while you're doing your CPT program. And also from your OPT, yeah, it depends on the company that you're working with. that you can do research, and some of these companies even they can pay for you and see if you can get a higher education like a master or PhD program while you are working with them.
Correct. And another question we just saw, and I believe Duvan answered, someone asked, if I study in Costa Rica, can I still do my OPT in the United States? No, you can only do an OPT if you are receiving a degree from a US institution. We have another question, if someone can remind them the difference between an OPT and a CPT. Sure. CPT is a curricular practical training, which means it's related to the curriculum of your program. And it can be done after you have studied at your institution for 1 academic year. It's a training program that can be paid or unpaid, and you can do it for up to 12 months. Required or an integral part of your program. The OPT is the optional practical training, which is done after you graduate. It's up to 12 months, and if you study certain degrees in science, technology, engineering, or math, you can extend it for 2 more years. And again, that has to be related to your degree. Let's take one more question before we let everyone go back to the lounge. 1 second. Does getting a job eliminate support from a scholarship? No. So you can have a scholarship from the university and also have a part-time job on campus. Additionally, if you do a CPT program or an OPT program, that is external to your application. That is separate from your application to the university. So you still will be eligible to apply for a scholarship at your university. And if you do a CPT or OPT and you're making money, you can save that money to help pay for your studies and for your housing. So thank you everyone for being with us today. Thank you, Duvan. Thank you, Genesis, for helping us. And we are so excited to have you all. Please make your way to the lounge, visit the tables, and enjoy the day. Thank you, everyone.
Good luck.